So you can see the continuation of the Cairns Railway there. It's a bit of a dirt track. Got these rail trails, have you heard of them? They're all the fashion. You get on there on your pogo stick or whatever and go for a lovely afternoon jaunt. Line, which, funnily enough, these days doesn't take you to Chillagoe or Mungana. That hasn't been used since the mid-90s. Today it's just the Mareeba Almaden section. It's still used. It's 120 kilometres from Mareeba to Almaden, so we'll be travelling the entire length of that. And this bit, privately constructed. What Hamish was telling you all about this morning, that was all government funded. This one, privately constructed by the Chillagoe Mining Company. Now I imagine most of you guys are going to Chillagoe this afternoon, so you'll probably have tours around the town and they'll tell you a bit about Chillagoe Mining Company, take you out to the old smelters, so I won't ruin too much of it for you, but basically there was a fair bit of minerals, so they thought, in the Chillagoe area. They wanted to take advantage of that and start mining it. They needed a smelters to process these minerals in, mostly copper, but there was a bit of gold, some tin, silver. up here on the Tablelands. It was built in the 90s. And when it was built, they serviced it with a train. So anything that was coming in or out all had to be done by train. Which meant that the original Chillagoe Mungana line that had been placed down in 1901 had to be upgraded in the 90s to facilitate that train. So even though we are still on the Chillagoe Mungana line at the moment, we're on a little bit of an upgraded version. Season, which is anywhere between May and December, that train was operating up to 2 times a day. But that particular train that wound up 2010, it's all done by trucks now. Anything needs going in and out is done by trucks. We're the only train to come in here. This year we've seen a fair bit of cotton. You'll see it come up on the right hand side. I can't really tell you too much about it. It hasn't been here previous years. It was only not in this area. We couldn't see it from the train anyway. It's only been this year in the last couple of weeks that we've seen it all sort of come into bloom. I'll have to do some homework and find out a bit about it. We've got a little flock of rollers. They're knowing there's bustards there, Australian bustards or plains turkeys, their other name right there. For all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same bird that does the same job. But they are 2 different species, and some birdos get really excited. Twitchers, if we ever got them on board. If we get the opportunity to see Sarus cranes, it's a lifer for a lot of them. They tick it off, very excited. They often flock together like that. You can see that's what they're known for. See that jumping up and down there. It's there. Can you hear the clickety clack now? You might have noticed we didn't have that this morning. Now we've dropped down onto the original Chillagoe Mungana line. The rail that we were travelling on this morning was £90 per yard welded rail. It is exactly how it sounds. For every yard it weighs 90 pounds. It's thick and it's strong and it's heavy and it's good stuff. It's what they use for mainline standard these days up and down the east coast, down between Brisbane and Cairns. You'll be travelling on that. And where they drawn it together, they welded, so it's almost seamless. But we go through those points. Now we drop back onto the original Chillagoe Mungana line that was laid down in 1901. At the time, their standard was £60 per yard. So this stuff right now, £30 lighter than what we're travelling on this morning. That means it's a bit weaker. It succumbs to the wet season every year a bit more easily, so you might notice we're a bit more bumpy, starting to rock around a bit more. And on top of that, when they drawn it together, it was just bolted together. Where they bolted together, there's a little gap. We run over the gap. We got that clickety clack noise. Now tomorrow, Hamish will take you out of Almaden. And you're going to drop down again, you'll go down to 41 and a quarter pound per yard rail. That stuff's like having a couple of bits of metal spaghetti line in front of the train. That's when things really start getting colourful. But that'll be tomorrow, he'll run you through it then. River that we're crossing over. This is the last permanent river that we cross over. As we head further west, 99.9% of the stuff out there, the rivers, they're seasonal. The ones that we cross over anyway, you know, I don't know, I wasn't out here last week, probably still a bit of water in some things, I guess. We'll find out as we cruise along. But usually by this time of year we are going into the dry well and truly, and things start drying up. Another thing before, forgot to mention about going through Arriga as well, is that's also the watershed for this particular part of the world. So if you're on the other side of Arriga and your water, you're going to be running towards Coral Sea. You get on this side of Arriga, your water, you're heading out to the Gulf.